So we're going to do one last experiment, and that is we're now going to look at a chemical property called pH, okay? Or talk about if something is acidic or something is basic, okay? Or something's neutral, right in the middle. Now, when you talk to the students, most of the students know about acids. You know, for some reason, that's just in our culture. We know about acids. You know, they know that they have acid in their stomach, but we also have acids in our food. We have acid in our mouth. And we are going to do some tests with some household items to find out if they are acids or base. So as kind of an introduction, we have our pH chart. Now, a pH chart goes from 0 to 14. 0 to about 6 would be considered acids, and about 8 to 9, 8.5 on to 14 is basic. The more extreme the number, so closer to 14 you get, the stronger the base is. The closer to 0, the stronger the acid is. Now, right in the middle is what we call neutral. It is neither acidic nor basic. It's right in the middle. Water tends to be neutral. Milk tends to be neutral. Those things are kind of right down the middle, and those would have a number, a pH level of about 7 for neutral. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to test some liquids. Now, just like before, what I did is around the room I have these cups labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. In a minute, you are going to go around and we are going to check to see what kind of pH level these things have. But to do that, we have to find some way to figure that out, because all these chemicals are clear chemicals. They're all colorless chemicals. So what we're going to do is we are going to use a way to measure that. Now, we can measure it in different ways. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure just a couple different liquids. And the first thing we're doing, and you still have your cups of water and vinegar, what I want you to do is we're going to test the pH of water and vinegar. Now, the way we're going to do this first test is we have, in your kits, you have these little tubes, and they have a little chart on the outside. And if you open them up, they have these little strips of paper. And these little strips of paper are paper that's been treated to react with a chemical. And it will give us a range of color. And that color is going to be associated with a pH level. The way this works is we will take our water, for example, and if I dip it in there, I pull it out, not much of a color change. And if I kind of put it on here, I can match it to a certain color. And what you're going to do is you're going to do that with water, and then with another piece, don't use the same piece, with a different piece, test the vinegar. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to go ahead and test these two things, and we're going to see what numbers we're going to get. We're not going to use the chart just yet, but we're going to just test them, kind of write them down if you need to, or just remember what you found out. So go ahead and start that, and we'll check back in just a minute. And let me know some of the answers that you're finding. You don't have to use your straw. You can actually just dip it in there. Unless it's too far down.
It does say water. Okay. Oh, yes.
Just dip it in the water. Okay, so what were some of the numbers that you found? Okay, water, you had about a 6.5, 7. Some people had a 7.5, 8, so kind of in that area. You can use the chart that's on your little tablet here, or I printed this off. This is just another pH chart. Depending on your color printer, though, these colors can vary a little bit. So if you can, use this one on here, because that'll most correlate to what's inside the tube with the paper that's there. So they're going to test that. Now, we're going to go through and we're going to test other chemicals, but we're going to do it a little bit different. We're not going to use this pH paper. What we're going to do is we're going to use something called cabbage juice. So what I did before you got here, and you have this in little jars on your table, is I've got some red cabbage, and I blended it up. You can run it through a juicer if you want, or what I did is I added some distilled water to a blender and a bunch of leaves, and I blended it up and then I strained it out. And when you do that, you get this nice kind of violet-y colored liquid. Now this is an indicator, so it's what's called a universal indicator. It's going to tell us if something is an acid or if something is a base. What I want to do is we are going to add this to our liquids and we're going to look for a color change. Now the color change we're looking for is a little bit more subtle than that, but if we get some reds or purples, that's going to tell us that this chemical is a acid. Okay? If it stays violet, it's going to be neutral, okay? Kind of like how it is in here. If it goes blue or green, or bluish green, it's going to be a base. Now, with this, it's not going to give us an exact number, but kind of as general guidelines, the stronger the color change, the more acidic or the more basic it's going to be. What you're going to do is you have these little paint palettes, and you're going to take the little grease pen and you're going to mark them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, each of these little trays in here. And when you do that, that's going to correspond with the chemical. You're going to go around and you're going to have little droppers inside of each of those chemicals. Try not to move dropper from one chemical to another. There is a dropper for chemical number 1, there's a dropper for number 2, dropper for 3, so on. So go ahead and you're going to put a few drops in here. You don't need to fill it all the way up. You know, put several drops in there. Then you're going to go back to your table. Once everyone's ready, then we're going to get going and we are going to fill in this chart, our mystery liquids chart. And so our mystery liquids chart is going to be similar to what we're looking at now. How do we measure our pHs? Well, now we're going to have this little chart right here. So this is different from the other one. This is the red cabbage indicator colored chart. Okay, and depending on, again, your printer, you know, your colors may vary a little bit, but we want to compare our colors with this. So we're going to see what kind of color ranges we get. We've already done our water and vinegar. You can add those two in and tell us if it's an acid or a base. But then we're going to go through mystery liquid number 1, mystery liquid number 2, mystery liquid number 3, and 4, 5. Okay? As we go through, you're going to collect your data, make your guesses, and at the end, once everyone's done, we will find out what those liquids are. So go ahead and get your liquids, and then we are going to start up. So go ahead and move around, get what you need to get. All right, it looks like everyone is ready out there at the sites. Everyone's ready here. What we're going to do is we're going to use cabbage juice. Now you have cups with our cabbage juice in there. A little warning, if you were going to use cabbage juice when you do this demo, it's a great way to do it. It's very inexpensive. It's cool because it's something that's around them all the time. But cabbage gets stinky after a little while. If you are going to do this, blend this up just before class. You know, keep it in the refrigerator, keep it in a sealed container. Don't leave it in your classroom overnight. You'll come back and it will stink really, really bad. So just kind of make sure that if you pour it down the sink, make sure you're running the garbage disposal, running a lot of water through it. It's fine to go down the sink, it's just cabbage. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it, and again, we'll do the same type of thing. We're going to use our straw as a dropper, put it in there, and then we can drop. Now, what we're going to do is drop several drops. If you get a little bit of chunk in there, that's fine. But drop enough to where you can either see if there is or is not a color change. Okay, so it may take more than just 1 or 2 drops, but depending on how much liquid you have in there. So go ahead and do that. Start filling these out, and when we come back, we will see if we can actually figure out, see how close your guesses are. So go ahead and start your cabbage juice. All right, it looks like everyone is just about done, but we're going to go ahead and review this. So if you were keeping tabs in your on your chart, you filled it in and it might look something like this. So here's the one that I did. So I went through and I had my water and my vinegar, and then I went through liquid number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And what I was able to do was find out that I listed the pH level according to that chart. I also, what color my cabbage juice changed. And then if I thought it was an acid or a base based on that chart. And then what my guesses were, and here's how it turned out at the end. Number 1 was vinegar. Number 2 was water. Number 3 was ammonia. Number 4 was clear Windex. And number 5 was lemon lime soda. And we're able to kind of go through and find those things. And it's a great way to kind of review chemical change. It's also a great way to review talking about our atoms and what these things are made of, pH levels. And it's a great kind of a summation of everything that we're doing in those activities. All right? Very cool.